Hello, everybody. This is Robert, and thank you for tuning into Station Square. And I'm praying that everybody out there is doing well. We have had a pretty crazy January so far, which is January has always been crazy, but I don't think anything's gonna really top what we've been going through this month, at least in a long time. But yeah, but I really hope that everybody is doing well, and yeah, we're just gonna kick things into high gear, just do a podcast just to alleviate all of this stress that has just been happening. Yeah, exactly. So we have, as you can see, we have our lovely special guest in the corner. We have Cathy McAuley. Thank you so
Hi.
much for joining me on today's little episode.
Well, thank you for having me, Robert. We finally connected.
Yeah,
Good.
it's yet another interview that has been in the works for, man, I want to
Almost a year.
say I want to say like almost a year at this point, but yeah, we finally made it happen. Yay.
No matter what was happening in January, Robert and I came through.
Exactly, yeah. But and for anybody in LA, like my heart is with y'all. It has just been an absolute nightmare, but we're just doing the best we can and we're just what is one of the taglines that we're using? LA strong, I think? Yeah,
LA.
LA strong. Yeah, we're
I'm a
just gonna use
native.
that. Yeah.
Here in Richmond.
And yeah, for sure. And as you can see, Kathy is wearing a hat for a project that we'll definitely talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I guess for since we're kind of into the new year, how would you say that, since you've obviously done a lot last year, I've been seeing a lot of, projects and stuff that you've been working on. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about, how these last couple of years have been going and just share a little bit about what you're up to and yeah, what are the latest,
Admits.
whereabouts of what you've been doing
Okay.
as of late?
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Cathy McAuley. I'm a professional actor and voiceover actor. I do everything from stage, film, Broadway, the whole nine yards, for the last 40 years, since the dinosaurs roamed the earth. So, what I've been doing lately is I am a co-founder of Harvest Theater Company. We did our first equity play, my partner, Jim Landis, and myself. We did Feast of Fools, which is what happens on Thanksgiving when all your relatives get together. Woo! How things go. Woo! Off, off kilter. That's family. So we did that play and it was hugely successful. And now we're working on our musical, which is massive. We've been working on it for like a year and a half, which is it's about the 1950s, all I can tell you, 1950s monster movie genre. So that's
Nice.
we're filming the sizzle reel in March, so we're getting all prepared for that. I also, as you said, just am starting a project and have recorded for God's Gang, which is about a superheroes, right? And I've got it on my notes here, Hindu, Jewish, Baptist preacher, and Islam. And these are all people coming together that believe in a higher power, God. And it doesn't matter what they believe in, God, one God, and they just go in like a Scooby-Doo kind of van and fight crime. Now, I can't tell you what my character is, but I can give you a hint. I'm one of those people that live downstairs.
Oh,
Which are my favorite characters to play. So
yeah.
just giving you a little hint.
Very subtle.
Yeah, it's a little warm where I'm at.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of, I mean, you haven't
Crispy.
been to Phoenix, but
Yes, but that warm. And so,
yeah.
and they are a group of wonderful people. They have a whole council so that we represent, every religion that we are portraying. It's right on the money, and it's in the end, it's about a four-letter word called love, and it's just really great to work with this really amazing group of people who have won Emmys and Grammys and on and on and on to make this really something for somebody 9 to 19 and really instill values about no matter what you believe in or I believe in, that we can still come together and be inclusive and be cool with each other, you know? So it's really really an awesome project. And then I also mentor young humans on the autism spectrum at Spectrum Laboratory, where I mentor for voiceover, beginning, intermediate, advanced, then prep for the master class, which is learning what you brought up a little earlier, learning all the ins and outs of Audacity, learning all about how to set up your booth and get them on the path. The master class is about just auditioning. I coach them and they are booking like crazy. So, whoop, whoop, happy about that. So, for all my young adults out there on the Spectrum and Spectrum Laboratory, hi. They're a big, actually, I think you and Tyler know each other, Tyler Berman.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think we've been connecting on Facebook. We literally just talked last night.
Oh, you did?
And yeah, and funny thing about it is that I was actually kind of, and not to go into the political stuff, but I think right when we had that election in November, I honestly considered leaving there, but I was like, you know what? I still have friends that I should probably get in touch with, so Tyler was one of the many that I wanted to give a shout out to. Love you, man.
Right.
And maybe if we do an episode,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like let's do it. Let's see.
It would be a
But
great
yeah, he was just yeah,
He'd be a great
just
guest
cool
for
dude.
you. Any of the guys at Spectrum Laboratory that, like my master group, Dominique Brown, who was,
Yeah.
Dominique. So like we have a lot of people that have done a lot of television and so, yeah, that's what I've been doing. So it's really busy, and I also mentor one-on-one to kind of be a support for them, during the week because it's really easy to come to my class and we can knock out 5 or 6 auditions. But like, okay, what are you guys doing in the week? Well, I went and saw Sonic. Uh-huh. And how many auditions did you do during the week? Right? And they're like, well, I looked at it. I'm like, really? You looked at it. You got to record. So they're like, yeah. So a lot of them I work with during the week a couple times just to, let's get into the booth. Now let's open up, all the voices 123, voices.com. Let's see what's going on. Let's let's audition.
Yeah. I think a lot of um I don't want to say beginner, but I just wanted to say a lot of actors that kind of are just now getting their start just kind of have the misconception of like, oh, I could just record however many auditions that I could do, but or it's kind of like, I could do this SpongeBob character or Hanna-Barbera or so on and so forth, but it is a business, and a lot just kind of seem to undermine the business aspects of voiceover, which I'm pretty sure that you kind of go more into detail. And I've had dozens of interviews with a lot of veterans that have been doing this for a very long time, like Bob Bergen. Let's see, there's Dave Vanoy. There's so many different guests that I've had on, and we've all kind of talked about like voices 1, 2, 3 going on the pay to plays and just going a lot of many different, avenues of VO and not
Everything
just
you can.
specifically for, yeah,
Do everything you can because here's the thing. Whether it's on camera, Robert, or whether it's voiceover, what you rehearse is what you will do. So if you rehearse auditioning all the time, if you rehearse getting better at your craft, if that's what you do every day, then you will make it. It's that what I call the pick and pull method. You pick if you're a rock climber and you pull. You don't look at the big mountain because the big mountain's too overwhelming, right? So what did you do today, Robert? What did you do today? Well, you did a podcast. Okay, then you can go to sleep tonight and say, I deposited something in my voiceover bank account, right? Because
yeah,
whether it's pay for play, it doesn't matter. Um, you know, because there's so many opportunities now, and they're legit opportunities. I've seen my students benefit from that. Um, a lot of people are doing podcasts. They're creating, a lot of creators are just creating their own way to make it, not just the get an agent and hope that agent does something. You know, I have amazing agents, but you still have to work. You personally still have to do a lot, whether you're in a play and you're inviting casting directors or whether you're doing workshop. If you're SAG like I am, then you should be joining the SAG Foundation If you're in SAG, you should join SAG Foundation because SAG Foundation, it's all free, and you get to hear Denzel Washington speak, and you get to go be in the room with people that are doing the do, and you get to learn about Twisted Wave, or it's the Don LaFontaine. That's what they call that. That it's dedicated to Don LaFontaine. Um, so tons of voiceover workshops for free if you're in Screen Actors Guild. So that's massive.
Yeah. And I know there are definitely like the insurance and so much other benefits that you could get if you become a member of SAG. And like I said, there are episodes that I've already done where we also discuss about the unionizing, the unionization process, and also just a lot of different, areas of VO that you could work in. And I mean, I've known a lot of actors that are SAG E or SAG eligible or Taft Hartley into joining the union, and they're still booking like a ton of stuff. I'm talking like video games, animations, anime. Like there's so much out there that is like, and even what for like audiobooks or promo narration, if you're those folks that can do like long hours of just reading books. But which, by the way, I trust me, as somebody who is just recently getting into that field, it is a lot of work, but at the end of the day, you're just playing so many different characters and that's pretty much is the process of acting. You're creating and bringing so many different characters. It's not just doing silly voices, but it's about living and breathing as a character in make-believe situations.
That's very good advice. Yes, it is. I always tell my actors one thing that's really, really a biggie for people that are starting out, the five W's, okay? Because I've studied with everybody.
Yes.
And the five W's, who are you? What do you want?
Meisner, yeah.
Yes, right, of course. So the five W's works no matter if you're doing a Tylenol commercial and you're doing a voiceover, because people have to see you with their ears. So when you watch any of us professionals doing it, we're in there. We are in there as the people. If our, let's say it's for CVS, let's just say, all right, why is CVS so cool? Okay, it's my daughter. You make up this story in your head. My daughter has a fever. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Where are you? I'm at home. I went into the medicine cabinet. We're out of Tylenol. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What are my options? I got to take her to the ER. I've built this whole world. So when I read copy, I realize that, oh, CVS is open 24 hours. Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh, my daughter's got the fever. You watch her, honey, and I'll go get I have this whole thing already built. So why do I sound like it's more realized? Because it is. I did the five W's before I went in for the audition. So it sounds like I'm not just reading off a paper because there's a lot of great readers. There's a lot of great readers. Difference between reading and being an actor, not even in the same ballpark. So now I've built this story about having a daughter, which I do, who has a fever, which she's had in her lifetime. And as a parent, where you go to when you're like, I gotta get something for my baby right now. And so, and when you do that and you walk in and you're talking about CVS and it being open 24 hours, now you have a story of why, So that's training. I know some of the biggest actors, I'm not going to name drop, which for being in this for 40 years, I'm in every union and I have won awards but I'm telling you, we all train. We all continually train. Or we as when I mentor, I learn something new every day. You can learn from anybody. I watch how somebody else attacks a piece of copy, right? I mean, be around like-minded people, right? If you don't drink, probably you don't want to hang out in a bar, right? Okay. You are a voiceover actor, hang out like you are with what you're doing, Robert. You're meeting all these people who give you words, pearls, I'm telling you. For us, people who've been doing it for 40 years, come on. I wish I had me when I was coming up.
That is, oh my goodness, you have no idea how many times I've heard, man, I've been at this for 40 years. I wish I had this information when I first
Right,
started out. Yeah.
right. And that's why I say, I could tell you one thing, guys, to people coming up. If you don't, 0 plus 0 equals 0, right? So if you do something towards your dream, towards your goal, this big, doesn't matter. They all add up. If you do nothing, nothing will happen, right? So you just keep pushing, just keep stepping. I heard people that are no longer on this planet, funny people, Don Knotts, Robin Williams. He just said, outlive them, just outlive them. I mean, so it's really about what you put in is what you will get back in a relationship, in any kind of job, any kind, not just acting. And you're right, putting on a voice. There's a lot of people that can do wonderful imitations, but there already is a SpongeBob, Tom Kenny.
Exactly.
Hi, Tom. Um, um, there's already
Hey.
yeah, there already is Animaniacs, my dear friend Robert Paulson, Robin,
Yeah.
um, who has come to Spectrum Laboratory and spoken, along with Tasia Valencia, who's Poison Ivy. And so we've had a lot of people come that we're all with the same agent. We've been doing it for so long. They'll come and talk to my students. And so, and they say that then my students all look like this. Uh, Cathy says that all the time. So now when they're saying it, you believe it. You know, it's like they become so familiar with you that it's like, I was telling you the truth. I wasn't lying.
Yeah. That's pretty
You've heard
much
the
how it
same thing.
is. Yeah.
After interviewing so many people, you probably have seen a through line of people that have done it for a long time and made a living. Understand, Robert, I've never, ever done anything but act. Never. So I thank you, Lord. I don't have to wait tables. I don't, and believe me, I tip those waiter gods really, really well because I know that I'm blessed to have only been, in this field and working for this long. But I mean,
Yeah.
I just, from the very beginning of doing this, um, you're going to work with people that are nice. I tell anyone that who wants to listen, you'll work with people that are nice, people that are not nice, people that have egos. I said, but I said, you know what? It's no different than if you were at a regular job. If you went to an office, there's going to be nice people, there's going to be cranky people, and just, go in. I go, do your best, lay it to rest. Next, next, and at least be doing something proactive towards your goal every day.
Yep. And I think I forgot to mention one crucial element that kind of goes into the area of, into the field of playing pretending, which is improv. Like
Mhm.
literally doing an improv exercise or just doing improv classes. Like I know voiceover classes are fine and all, but improv, theater, singing is also really great. I mean, I'm just listing off some of the key essentials, but improvisational background is like this is what I was talking about when it comes to, because this literally happened during a session last week where I had to create three character, like just characters, not just voices, but just create characters just on the fly. And it was just kind of like, okay, one take, done, go, move on to the next. That's pretty much how a lot of this is because sometimes you don't even get the scripts until like 30 minutes, like the day of the session, like literally when you're in there. So
Right.
you just gotta
You get
be on
changes.
your toes. Yeah.
Right. Well, when I was doing God's Gang, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
they were flying. We had them on. One is in Tel Aviv, the other one's in Switzerland, and Ehud, who is the director, Landsberg has done like Transformers and what was the ones he's done? He's done Transformers. He's done Cyberverse, Vampirina. So he's done a lot of stuff. And so he and Nimrod, Nimrod is the creator, said, we were thinking. So I was doing it very maleficent, very evil. And they said, yeah, that's all great. But can you do it? Do you do accents? I said, yes. Russian? All right. Let's do it. And they said, okay. I said, just give me a second. Wait, 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 wait. What is that name? Ehud. I do not know from this. And then we start going into it. And I saw one of my students, Atticus Baldwin, of the Baldwin, you
Oh
know,
yeah, Alec Baldwin. Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah. And this is Atticus. Atticus is in my I trained Atticus, and Atticus had booked a role on God's Gang as well. And his eyes got really big, like, okay, you're just hearing in the moment right now, they want you to do this character with a Russian accent. I said, yep, that's the way it goes. And so when actors say, well, there was no auditions I was right for, or my agent hasn't sent me out. I'm going, how's that Scottish accent coming? How's that French accent coming? Oh, haven't done that yet? Have you seen all the breakdowns that want Scottish, Irish, that want Southern, that want, Midwest? I mean, you guys, you're a voiceover actor. So, like you said, improv classes. I mean, I toured with the best. Tim Conway, Harvey Korman, Carol Burnett. So I lived with those people for years on the road. So I mean, you're in front of like 5,000, 6,000 sold out houses, and you have Tim Conway or Harvey Korman throw you something. You gotta knock it back. You got to knock it back. So that was just training on your feet. But like at Spectrum Laboratory that I was telling you about, they have full on improv classes, and so that, and also what casting directors have said in this business, theater background, which that's was where I got my start in theater, um, is a really great transfer because a lot of people beginners start like this, Hindu, Jewish, and you're like, did you have a stroke? So I mean, like it's like, because they're reading. So, but when you see theatrical people, they go Hindu, Jewish, and you're seeing them
Mm,
they're playing to the crowd when there's no crowd there. Because again, you have to be you have to let people see you with their ears. So what's going to engage somebody? What's going to grab them? And so that's why theatrical people that have done a lot of stage, can they translate great in voiceover. Very, very close.
yeah, because as somebody who also did have a little bit of a stage background when it comes to improv and
Mhm.
singing in a choir, I can definitely confirm that that is so accurate. Like we go big, and when you're behind a microphone, like your first instinct is to be like, I live for the theater, and it's just kind of like, and then one of the common things that you hear is like, okay, that was good, but maybe tone it back, like maybe bring it in a bit, which is something that happens all the time. Like I do a take that is like really bombastic, and then, but it's really better to just being told to bring it back than just to go more, do
No
more.
one will ever say
Exactly.
that. No one will ever say that. And I can't even count how many auditions I've been to. I always say, go in being Robert. Go in,
Yeah.
if you had one chance to do this role, because that's the only guarantee you have is the audition. That's all you got, right? So if you can
Exactly.
play this role, okay, you get a hint of what they're looking for, but then you should take that and Robert size it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And because no one can be you, only you can be you. So don't try to sound like anybody else. Say, okay, Cathy said, if somebody, if this was the only time you get to do this, literally, God's going to take you up to heaven after you leave this audition. So how if you know if you know you're going to be taking a dirt nap in 5 seconds, how would you do it? How would you do it? Just go for it. They will always rein you in, but they won't say, could you be funnier? Because that would be just really rude. They won't say that. Could you just be a little more funny? They won't say that. So go for it because when you go for it as a Robert, you're being true to how you would really love to do the character. Now
Yeah.
I mean, I've made choices that were uh absolutely insane, and they ended up writing. I actually went to an audition and looked down. I went, now they were the same brand, Robert, but I had two different color shoes on. I had a navy and a black. I went, hi, everyone. All right, why don't we just bring everyone's attention down to my shoes? Yes, I am wearing one navy and one black. That's how my day is going. So just to get that out of the way, so because I'm seeing you all look at my feet, and yeah, one's navy, one's black. They were dying. They wrote it. I got the role. They wrote it in the script that she always had two different pair of shoes on. So I
Nice.
mean, you know, it was, but I was like, you learn that in, you definitely learn that in improv to, if something's happening, right, make it work. I looked down, I went, oh my goodness, I'm wearing a black and a navy shoe and I'm at network. I gotta walk in and say, hi, I have the wrong shoes on. I mean, but I didn't. Everyone burst out laughing because the character was kind of supposed to be dippy anyway. So it was like, and then when I got the script, it says she has a dark brown and a light brown pair of shoes. So like it became a thing. I was always wearing just a little bit different color shoe on the other foot. So see, I made something that could have been like, oh no, I made it work, you know? And so, and I know I was seeing something, watching an actor speak about props, bringing props in. If you own it, I went in, my agent said, do not wear a wig. I most certainly wore a wig because her name was Marie Testarossa from New Jersey. So I had the red ringlets all the way down to my butt. And I walked in with a can of cheese balls. And there was like seven people sitting there. I'm like, okay, who wants a cheese ball? And they just started laughing. I go, okay, here, pass it, share. Don't be stingy. Keep it going, keep it going. But I haven't even started reading yet. I have not said anything. I walked in as the character after I was finished passing the cheese balls around. They said, wardrobe. You don't even have to read. You are her. You are Marie Testarossa. So had I listened to my agent who said, don't wear a wig, everyone in there that was reading for Marie Testarossa in the witness relocation program had jet dark hair. I knew the character. I knew they weren't going to hire blonde, blue-eyed. No, they wanted Italian. So I wore the wig. I went in with cheese balls, and that's what I did. And I booked it. E- They told me before I left I booked it. But see, those are not just to be funny. I could just see this Marie Testarossa eating out of the can of the cheese balls. I saw that. I saw the vision in my head, and I went for it. I'd rather be funny and wrong because funny and wrong will always get you back in the room. Always. Safe. Safe. Yeah, they'll be like this. Yeah, he was okay. You don't want to be okay. You want to be, he was so funny. He's not right for this, but the producers loved him. That's what you want. That's what auditions are for, to make fans, to build your network of fans. So every time something's right, they know they can count on Robert for bringing in the funny, right? They just know no matter what, you're going to come in and you're going to make them look good because you're going to bring it. So that's where you want to be. So don't actors get so in their head. Well, oh, and I never sit close to a door where you can hear the other people auditioning. I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to get in my head. Oh my gosh, they were applauding for that person. I go out way from the door. I don't want to hear anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably, probably for the best because it's just kind of like, because on the one hand you can kind of hear how they're preparing or doing the
Right.
part, but then at the same time it's just kind of like, oh, you kind of feel for them because you kind of get the sense of like, oh my God, I think they're gonna bomb the thing.
Or you get in your head the other way where they're like,
Yeah.
woo! And you're like, did the guy just book it? I mean, why am I even going in now? So
Oh my God.
I don't want any of those things in my head. I got enough stuff roaming around in my head. I don't need that.
Oh,
So,
sure. Yeah.
I just like go, I know what I'm going to do. I go in and do it. And like you said, they'll always say, could you pull it back? Could you dial it down? Could you, just make it a little, we're talking a hair, which you say, sure. And you nail it. but they'll never say, "Hey, Robert, could you be funnier? Could you bring it way up?" That would be so embarrassing. They're never gonna say that because that would put somebody on the spot and be like, "Funnier? I thought it was pretty funny."
What do you
So,
mean funny?
so yeah, so definitely go in with your version.
Exactly. So I definitely also wanted to go back to the Spec Labs because that's kind of the because you've done a lot of shows. And then I think I've seen a while back on your YouTube channel that you did like an Alice in Wonderland musical,
Yes,
and you did
yes.
yeah, you've done so much. Like
Last,
you've
yeah,
done so many
we
musical,
did.
yeah. So
We did a Spec Miss Carol. You should
oh yeah,
audition a Spec Miss Carol, and that was our version of a Scrooge, with all puppets, and a mu original musical. And then Alice in Wonderland, but it was called Inheriting Wonderland, and it was how Alice inherits Wonderland from the Mean Queen because she's looking for somebody else to take over because she can't live forever, even in Wonderland. And that was an original musical, and that was with about 15 people on the spectrum. We all went down the rabbit hole together, and that was woo! It's like that was crazy fun. Great, crazy fun. A lot of work, tons of work. But, theater, nothing like it, man. It's like you become it's like a wolf pack. That's where you find your people. I always say to actors, find your tribe. Find your tribe. Got to find like-minded people. Because when you're in a cast together, this person has an agent. Oh, my agent will meet you. And you're like, it's like literally it's like you go through war together. Everybody starts at a different level. Some people are still on book. That means on their script, they haven't learned their lines. Some people are completely off book. That person, though, can't dance. He's got two left feet. And then all of a sudden, it chill. And everybody's like, pow. And then you see them before opening night and they hear all the crowd rolling in and we're sold out and we have to add performances and they're like, "You guys, tonight is opening night. Oh my God." And they're just like, "Wow." And you see them like 5 years from now, they could be walking down the street in New York. 20 years from now, they could be walking down a street and you see somebody that you did a show with, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, Robert!" Because you literally go through all that rehearsal together and you literally go through all those performances and all the funny things that happen during performances that the audience doesn't know about, but people missing the cue, lights not coming up on, all the things that happen in live theater. And believe me, a lot of stuff happens in live theater. Like you're waiting for
yeah,
somebody to come in. I know my son is coming. He's always late. Son, I mean, like, people are like, he's like you said, that's where improv comes in real
yeah.
handy.
You should
Yeah.
watch
So,
like the musical theater videos on YouTube,
oh, they're
the when
hysterical.
stuff goes wrong. Yeah. Oh
Hysterical
man.
because you've been there.
Exactly. So I think I'm gonna conclude this in the next part. So if you're enjoying this so far, to those out there that are watching this, definitely let me know in the comments. But yeah, until the next part, we'll see you in a little bit. And yeah, this is just a fun interview. So I guess I'll see you in the finale. Talk to you later. Alrighty, so continuing off with the Spec Labs discussion because you've done many musicals. You can also find it on the YouTube channel, which I'm just immediately plugging it in right now. But yeah, you can find all sorts of programs. There's
Yeah.
many different testimonial. Yeah, and there's a lot that you can find on there. It's pretty much it's like one of those it really does speak for itself, but it really does speak for itself. Where if I just list off some of the stuff that you guys have done, so many projects, and because you've toured, I don't think you guys ever done tours, but you've done like shows like all around Hollywood, and it's just kind of
Oh
amazing to
yeah, we have a Spectrum Laboratory has an amazing music program, amazing, headed by one of the co-founders, Garth Herberg, and
oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, Garth. I mean, they have four now. four bands. We do Speckoween, and the bands all get together and just jam. And they just are amazing. And then the other co-founder is Jason Weisbrod, and he does all the short films. Many have won, tons of awards all through. They enter so many of, all the different, you know, like Sundance and all the different film festivals that they have entered. And you could just so if film is your thing, Jason has got you covered, or improv, Jason has got you covered. Anything music, you've got Garth, and whether it's songwriting, whether it's composing, whether it's being in a band, where it's learning how to play an instrument, or even learning engineering, you know. And then there's voiceover, which is me, which is me, and also theater, which is me when we do theatrical projects.
VO theater. But you do music, okay.
Yes, but I can, yes, I've done musicals, and many musicals. I'm doing one right now. So it but like it's really like a fame. It's like a school of the performing arts. That's what it is. I mean, there's just everything you could possibly, and people that want to learn animation, how to animate, and who we have amazing artists, amazing. Faith Butterfield, who did all of our backdrops. We're just like the people of the theater were like, who did these backdrops? I'm like, oh, one of my voiceover actors who's an amazing artist, Faith Butterfield. And like,
Yeah.
they're like, what? This is like Renaissance, like especially when it was the Scrooge. And then, of course, when she had to do the backdrops for Wonderland, they were like, whoa, these are so trippy and cool. And so we have a lot of artists and a lot of them can do, like you said, improv, theater, music. Many of them have perfect pitch, perfect pitch. If you said hit a G for me, boom, hit a G flat, G sharp, and then you played it on the piano, perfection, like crazy good, like that. So, like you're
Yeah.
right, you could just go on speclabs.org, speclabs.org, and see all, like I'm doing an online program, and I have Connor from, if you've watched Love on the Spectrum. Um, in this season, Connor is one of the stars of that um, show on Love on the Spectrum, and he's in my Sunday online class, which we create the characters, like you just did. You said three characters. We create three characters, and a villain, a good guy, his sidekick, and then we create this whole story. We write the script, we animate it, and then we do the three different voices for three different characters. So, from the evil person to the really nice person. So it's like they get to do the whole thing from start to finish. And when they're finished, they get a little mini movie that they created. And then also one of my dear friends who is my co-partner on Harvest Theater Company, our theater company, um, is partnering this round. He's like an Imaginarian. He works on a boatload of shows, from Frasier to Reba to the '90s show to just this year alone. And he's doing props, teaching people like how to make. Right now, they're making the Jurassic Park cane with the mosquito that's in it. I mean, the stuff he's done, if you just go look at his IMDb, I mean, from Freddy Krueger to every television series you could possibly know. And they're doing prop fabrication, making moon rocks and making just crazy fun stuff. So yeah, it's a one-shop stop. If you want to be creative, you should come hang out with Spectrum Labs.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of amazing people that actually I've met in person. So I'm gonna get to this in a little bit, but I also remember you had testimonials of so many students there, and like you said, you had guests on the show, for the program that taught to speak voiceover and just teaching actors on the nuts and bolts of the business. Like, and I got to talk about Rob Paulson because Animaniacs, that was the show. That was my jam as a kid. So,
Oh,
and I was just like, and I was really happy that I got to see one of the concert shows for
mhm.
Animaniacs that,
Yeah, right.
Rob, he did with Mo and Randy. So it was just a lot of fun. But I specifically wanted to talk about Rob for just a second because I know that,
Work.
for voiceover, like I know that he is also just really generous and giving of his time, and especially when teaching, the students on the spectrum about, bringing the characters to life and just, teaching a new generation of actors that are just gonna blossom in the business. So it's
Right.
just really nice that you bring in guests like him. And I think Tom Kenny might have also appeared at one point. So yeah,
He's
just
actually played with the band. Tom
yeah.
I
And it's
see
just really yes, it's just really awesome to just see all these actors just really be
Jorge
so supportive of I'm sorry?
Jorge Gutierrez.
Oh, yeah. So that kind of brings me to the next part of, what I was going to get to. So, autism and entertainment, because I believe that was where I met, sorry, Jorge, and I think
Oh,
I met, I'm sorry?
yeah, yeah. So you came to the voiceover part too.
I did. And that I
Right.
think
That's
that's
when
where I met
I was on
you,
the panel.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I
Right.
met so many different people there from Spec Labs. So that was actually kind of like, and another part that I wanted to talk about, it's getting to attend events like this, is that it really does, like, you could just see the people online, but getting to meet them in person is just kind of like, because I was somebody who used to be like, oh, people. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, I don't like people, but I was just more introvert. But, getting to attend events like these is just kind of,
Right.
because I say to people all the time, like, and it's kind of something that was, I think somebody told me this once where you miss every shot that you don't take, and,
Right.
getting to attend an event like this one, because I was kind of not sure about it, but then getting to attend it
Happy
and
that
seeing
you
so many people that are also, like, I don't want to say that they're on the spectrum, but so many different creatives that are just so absolutely,
a
I'm
lot of
sorry?
them are on the spectrum, and a lot. I would
Yeah.
say a lot of people in our business are on the spectrum and
Yeah.
just haven't been diagnosed, or I mean, it's just a broad, very broad rainbow of
Yeah.
differences, or or I like to say gifts, because I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially gifted. Yeah.
Yeah, very gifted, and I don't know too many 20 somethings that I could say Don Knotts. And my kids come back and say, "Do you want Don Knotts when he was on Andy Griffith, or do you want him when he was Mr. Lippet?" And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
when other 20 somethings neurotypicals will say, "Oh, that was totally before my time. I mean, who's Don Knotts?" Uh, And you're like,
Oh
"Who's
man.
Don Knotts? Who's Don Knotts?"
Exactly. It's like
Oh my
I'm
God.
one of those people that are just kind of like, "Hey, did you know about like this who is that one comedian? This like the Three Stooges. I grew up with
Right,
like yeah, comedians like Andy Griffith's show, and you mentioned Don
right.
Knotts, and I also watch Happy Days, and how many people are going to be like, "Who is Henry Winkler?" For
Right, like,
real.
well, Don
Yeah.
Most directed me in a show. Donnie Most, who played Ralph Malph, but he's also an amazing director. And I've worked with him, and I've worked with Ted Lange, who was on Love Boat, and a lot of people that, a lot of people that direct big movies. Also, I worked with David Lynch on
Oh,
commercials.
yeah.
So I mean, you know, I got to work with Robin Williams in the booth for a
Yeah.
year, and Rob Paulson. Speaking of Rob and
Yeah.
I met Rob when I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in the children's department, and he was like, super handsome, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I mean, just like
Yeah.
a crush,
All these
you know.
handsome voice
He-
actors, man.
yeah, they are, and they're such down to earth people, and
Exactly.
um, but he's when I had Remington, my daughter, um, my nanny said, "Oh, I have to come and drop her off." I'm like, I'm doing a recording. I'm at LA Cat. I can't. She goes, I'm sorry, I have to. So and Rob saw me like in distress. He's like, "What's wrong, Cat?" I'm like, "They're dropping my baby off, and I have to go in." He's like, "No worries, I got her." I'm like, "You really?" And he goes, "I got her." And I said, "But it might take an hour." He goes, I got her. Go do your voiceover. So Remy comes in and she's just kicking her little feet and she's not, can't even walk yet. She's just an infant. And Rob just sat there and played with her. I was in and out, and Robin Williams did the same thing. So she's been on a lot of famous laughs, and that's how voiceover actors are. They're like, Here, I'll help you out," because we all have kids, and a lot of us do, and at some point, a babysitter has said, "I can't be there," and so you go, "I'll watch her while you go in." I'm like, okay, but with Robin Williams, though, I'm like, Robin. He goes, "I'm not going to do anything crazy." I go, okay, I'm going to come out and you're going to be here, right? With my baby. He's like, two times. My daughter had such separation anxiety. So if I handed her to anybody, she would scream and start crying. Rob, not a peep. When Rob handed her back to me, she started crying and she was reaching for Rob. I'm like, you turncoat, you turncoat. And same thing with Robin Williams. Same thing with Robin. She did not cry when I handed and was giggling and laughing her head off when I came out to get her and cried when Robin handed her back to me. I'm like, what is with you voiceover dudes? I mean, you guys got some power because I mean, I handed her to anybody else, she would scream. They go, yeah, well,
I mean, well,
I mean, we're pretty funny guys. But yeah, I mean, just really, and Rob is just like a heart of gold, like
yeah,
the biggest heart. For years and years and years, all of Remy's birthdays, Rob would get the Ninja Turtles, he and the Ninja Turtles, to call her up on the phone and go, Remy, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, on her birthday. I mean, so all the turtles would come when they were in the recording, and Rob would go, just remind me. They're like, tomorrow's Remy's birthday. He's like, okay, and her little cell phone would ring and be, Remy, it's Donatello, it's just all the guys, and they would all sing happy birthday to her. So big shout out to Rob Paulson. I love you, I love you, I love you.
man, it's just. It also reminds me of a story about, yeah, just I think I remember seeing a story since you mentioned Robin Williams, how he would just go the extra mile of just literally lighting up somebody's day. Like, I remember reading a story where he was on a movie set and it was after a long day. This one guy just walked up to him and he was just talking about his life story, and Robin just literally just he just stood there just watching in awe, just listening to this guy. And then he was like, well, there's nothing like whatever passion that you have, like I think it was music. Well, it's never too late to pick something up and just reignite the fire inside of you. So,
Right.
and that's what the guy did. He went back home, found his tuba, and then he started playing it. And then all of a sudden, that the fire, that spark just came back.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And this was something I read on, of all things, Facebook. So
Well,
it was
no, I
just
mean, that sounds like something
amazing.
that he
Yeah,
would
he
say.
would do.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. And that, like, when you've been blessed, and that's what's so important about that you find with many actors that have had a really nice career and have, like I said, I've only ever been an actor. So anytime I would have been ever asked to give back to, whether it was, kids at risk, whether it was, on the spectrum, mentor anybody. That's why I'm on your show. Just because if there's anybody out there that needs their fire lit, it's like just keep stepping, just keep stepping, just keep doing the do. Keep picking and pulling and climbing and climbing and climbing. The only person that does not win the race is the person that's not in the race. So stay in it, man. It is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And just know that. Know that for every 100 auditions you go on, you're going to get one. Now, that one could change your life. That one that you got could be an animated series that goes on like The Simpsons. It could be lightning in a bottle. Or you just may, that one could lead to a movie. The other one could lead to a musical. And pretty soon, the more you do it, the more you do it, like I told you, you build your little fan base. You feel of casting people who like you and the directors who have worked with you that like you. And then they start calling for you and
exactly.
requesting you.
Yeah. And I also wanted to talk about specifically what was the podcast? I mean, I'm pretty sure since we're kind of on the subject of podcasting, I remember on he also Rob Paulson also did a podcast where and he also appeared on Jim Cummings' podcast too, where he talked
I
about
know Jim too.
oh yeah, Jim,
Jim.
he's so great. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, Jim, hey, hope you're also doing well. But yeah, and congrats on the YouTube milestone, which big plus. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is that so Rob told the story about how he had Corey Burton on his show, and
Mhm.
you know Corey has also done many Disney characters and done a lot of work. And Corey mentioned that he was also on the spectrum, but then Rob said to Corey, "Look, you may not know this, but somebody out there is going to listen to this and they're going to be inspired by you." And then sure enough, like Rob was at a convention and lo and behold, so many kids just walked up to him and they were just like, "Listen, I watched the show, the episode that you did with Corey Burden, and that inspired me to pursue a career in animation. This one girl is now working with Warner Brothers on the spectrum, and they were just inspired by story Corey's story on Rob Paulson's podcast. So you just never know.
You
Something
just
like
never
this
know
can
where it's going to come.
somebody can watch this and then they'll just be like, I wanted to do this. They can just reignite the fire or the spark inside of you, like the Robin Williams story that
Yeah.
I just shared.
Well,
You just never
just like
know.
you said, like a lot of people that come into Spectrum that are new go, "Oh my gosh, I never knew. I never knew Spectrum Laboratory even existed, that there was a
Exactly. Yeah.
place I could go, not only go, but like I said, most important thing you could do is find your tribe. Find your people, man. Find your
Yeah.
people." And then all of a sudden they all start going out to the movies after class, and now they have their own group of they're like a little family, man. I mean, they
Yeah.
really are. So, yes,
It
finding your
really
tribe
is a
is
small
huge.
world.
Right. And so I invite anyone that's listening that is on the spectrum and that is creative and we accept everybody. We welcome different abilities. And we celebrate who you are, and we just take you right from where you are, and we grow from there.
Yeah, I mean, I still remember from the conference just so many nuggets of knowledge that I've received from, with Hoyt and Danny Bowman is another one I should also give a shout out to with
Me
Danimation
too.
Studio.
Hi,
I mean,
Danny.
yeah. So there's so
Love you,
many, and it's
Danny.
really a small world. In fact, let
Danny
me
went
show
to
you this real
Danny
quick.
went to that's how I became involved with Spectrum Laboratory, because my
Yeah.
daughter and Danny went to college together.
Yeah, and so Danny is another one that is just really out there doing her thing and just really making because I remember Danny from like because she would just make these animations from such a young age and now she has a little studio, she's got a production company traveling to help those that want to get into animation. So just seeing her grow and blossom all these years is just really
A
it's
lot
just
of
really
hard work.
inspiring. Yeah,
She's put in a
and
lot of time, so I really respect.
collaborating with so many people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I really respect that she's again, she's a person that really does do the do and puts in a lot of time and effort and work into her. She when I first met Danny, it was on the campus of Woodbury. We were touring, we were touring to see if Remington wanted to go to that college. And Danny walked right up to me and said, "Hi, Danny Bowman, here's my card." And I looked at her aunt and I go, "Okay, so now we know she's Oprah. This is my daughter Remington." I'm like, because she was just so bold and so self-assured, and here's my card, and so when Remington was looking for, because Remington's younger than Danny, and when Remington was looking for, you know, you have to have internship hours. Danny Bowman, who used to be with Spectrum Laboratory, who ran the animation division of Spectrum Labs. She said, "Come over and do your intern hours with me, Remy." My daughter, Remington, she goes, "Come over and do them with me." And so she did. And that's how I walked in and I met Jason, the co-founder, and he's like, "You do voiceovers. Can you come one Saturday and just talk to our kids and just give them, 40 years worth of knowledge?" And just, I go, "Whatever you can tell them." I said, "Sure." That was 5.5 years ago. I went on a Saturday. And after I finished talking, and I brought copy, I brought partner reads, I bought group reads. I mean, they were so lit. And they said, one of them said, "Do we get to keep you? Are you?"
Oh.
I went, "Okay, I'm made out of jello. I cry at, a dog chow commercial." And I'm like, "What?" They go, "Are you ours?" And I went, "Uh, yes. Of course
It's like,
yes."
how do you reply to that?
I just went, "Yes." And every Saturday since the Saturday I first went there, I have not missed a Saturday unless it was for COVID or something like that. So,
Man.
yeah. So when I said, "Yes, I'm yours," okay, here we go. And I never
Yeah.
dreamed that it would blow up so big, and that like
Exactly.
Tyler has his own booth in his own house,
Yeah.
and he was the voice of God of at the Autism and Entertainment, Tyler
I
Berman.
remember, yeah. Yeah,
Right?
just had to throw that out there.
Yes. Well, I mean, it was a big deal, and he got paid for it, and
Oh
so
yeah.
that's
I
all.
mean, yeah, you could definitely brag about it, Tyler, if I have you on the show. So, yeah, brag about it.
So I'm bragging about it for you, Tyler Berman.
Exactly. Yeah, we're bragging it for
Yeah,
you. So,
Robert and I are bragging about you.
yeah, check out his stuff. Really cool
He
dude.
does all these
So,
fidgets. He does reviews on fidgets. You know what fidgets are?
oh, the fidget. Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, fidgets. People that don't know what they are, it's like, okay, let's pretend this was a fidget. It's actually lipstick, but like lip gloss.
Yeah.
If this was a fidget, so when people on the spectrum or people that have anxiety, fidgets are like things that you can just, it keeps your hands busy, and it kind of regulates your anxiety or stress.
Oh yeah. I think that there's still. I know they still sell them, but I remember a
Oh,
few
it's
years ago they
fun.
were like all over
There
everywhere. There
trust me,
still are. Yeah.
they still are. Like, I'll just have
Yeah.
people in class, and that
Oh
like
yeah.
that, and it really does. I always call it like a tuning fork or a lightning rod. It just brings their energy. It
Yeah.
pulls the focus in, you know, instead
Yeah.
of getting anxious or anything. But everybody, when they first start out, when they're brand new, they're like, I literally, I've walked into a beginning class and they're just like, "Don't look at me. I don't want to be here. My parent made me come." And by the end, they're like, "Woo! Boy, put your hands in, everybody. Come on. One, two, three, voiceover forever." I mean,
Yeah.
they're like, "I love it." I hear them, and this makes my heart just, they go, "I love this. I can't wait till next Saturday. Oh my gosh." So you have to follow me on, maybe you already do, on Instagram.
I think.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, look,
At
my
Catherine
my
McAuley.
brain is just. Yeah. Like
I'm
my
gonna put
brain
it
is
here
just kind
too.
of just super fried from like everything that's just been happening. So I.
Well, I hear you. I had to evacuate, like I told you, so that was
Yeah. And
pretty
also
scary.
with the. Oh, there it is. Yeah, and
Also.
also with the Monday, which, yeah.
Mhm.
This is why I don't discuss politics. I hardly discuss it on my show, which you
Right.
won't get any of it here. Because this is all like, we just want to talk
So it's all
about the stuff to
positivity.
escape from. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we want to stay in the positive bubble. Thank you very much.
Exactly, yeah. Trust
And
me. If you want to get your fix on politics and podcasts,
you
just
can go to
watch.
Facebook.
Just go to Facebook. Exactly.
Yeah, and you could get, and like that's what I told, you
But
know,
limit your time on there. That's all I'll
yeah.
say. Yeah.
Because I don't even watch the news before I go to bed, because otherwise I won't be able to sleep.
Why
My
would you? Exactly. It's like,
I want to
you want to
watch
watch.
mindless. Like, I don't want to watch something that gets me all ramped up thinking, "Oh my gosh, the world's going to end tomorrow." Ah,
Yeah,
wake
it's
wake up
just
in
kind
the
of like when
morning.
you're a kid, they say don't watch horror movies before bed. I think the news would be a horror movie to watch before
Right.
bed.
Like, it's just it's too much. There's just
Exactly.
too, I mean, it's not like one thing. It's just like, is there a good story? Can we hello?
Okay.
You
But
know?
in the case of like actual horror movies, like I don't know, Freddy Krueger and stuff like that, it's like make believe, right? This is
Right.
real life. This is
Right.
reality,
It's real, which
unfortunately.
makes
So
you that makes it even more scary.
yeah, that makes it worse, honestly.
I mean, I could just do. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3,
Exactly.
better lock your door.
It's like
5,
a lullaby.
yeah, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, never stay up. Stay up late.
Yeah,
9, 10, never sleep again. I'm a
yeah. So I mean
fan.
that's like a cute little lullaby, but it's like, oh hey, did you know that this is gonna happen to these
Right,
rights or
the whole
whatever? It's like,
world. And these
oh,
fires too, like you know, being that I did have to evacuate, I do know my heart goes out to anyone that has lost their home,
yeah.
that is
Oh man,
misplaced,
yeah.
and that I ask all voiceover people, anyone that's watching that wants to be a voiceover person, that is a voiceover person, that you find some way that you can give back, donate, uh, all baby items, and because it just helps you and your own anxiety about everything, about going and helping,
Yeah.
being a service.
And I just really gotta hand it. Like, there is just, for every dark situation, like, there's always a light. Like, just seeing the amount of people that are just really, like, actually coming together and really helping such a really devastating, situation like this one. I mean, just seeing all of these, my fellow Angelicanos, yeah, my fellow Los Angeles people just coming together and just really making a huge difference of just donating.
Angelinos.
Angelinos, yeah, just coming on and staying strong and, yeah, just really doing their part, donating, whether it's, having updates and just really doing what they can in order to help the people that have just lost literally everything. So this is why I often say, with all the stuff that we do have, it's like we can't really take it for granted because you
To be
just
gone.
never know these days. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
And the
it's
most
just like,
important thing
yeah.
is your family,
And it's
and
gratitude.
and,
Yeah.
and your always in everything that you do, lead from a place of being grateful. Like,
Exactly.
we take for granted waking up, like we wake
Exactly.
up, and you take for granted that you can walk, that you can run, that you can,
Exactly.
that we have freedoms in this country, and we have a lot of wonderful things every morning by just waking up. You should just start your day with a moment
Yeah.
of gratitude.
And going back to Rob, once again, that is one of the key lessons that he gives. If you've talked to Rob, you probably know that he discusses a lot about gratitude. And that's pretty much for any voice actor, like
Yes,
that have just been at this for many years. Like Rob, Jim, Maurice LaMarche, Billy West, who is also on the spectrum,
all of them
and
who are
so
we're
many.
all with the same agent.
Yeah, yeah, same agent. So whoop-de-doo. But yeah, they all talk about the importance of gratitude because really nobody forced us or had a gun over their heads and just said, hey, you need to do this or else. Like, it just all came from a place out of sheer love and just really, because it really makes us just so much like, hey, we're just going out there and clipping our wings and just really just when that spark glows, like you just have no idea how far it's gonna really reach. And the stories that I just shared, it's like, yeah, the person that just got a job at Warner Brothers, the person who picked up the tuba and just found the spark inside of him.
And maybe
Just
somebody
little
that's
stories.
listening to this
Yeah.
right now will go, oh my gosh, let me go to
Let me go.
speclab.org
Yeah,
and
spec labs
find
are
it.
just yeah, definitely do it. We want. It just sounded
Definitely.
like very. Please come to spec labs. We
Yes,
want you.
we
Yes, one of
do.
us. One of us. One of
One of
us.
us, one of
Like a
us, one
cult.
of us.
One
Yes.
of us. Yeah. I do want
Uh,
to show. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, I got all these posters, which is
Oh,
like
wow, I
all the
see
different.
all of them.
Yeah, it's like so much that I have accumulated over
Collected.
because I am a collector and posters of just because you did mention Sonic, I was like, yeah, you know what? It checks out because and it's not just with Sonic, but it's just so many different stuff that I collected over the years of just doing the conventions, which I've mentioned before, like doing events like these just kind of helps you grow out of the bubble, the comfort zone. But um for the autism conference, I did receive a couple of buttons, which I still have in my backpack. I think this is for Miracle
Miracle
Project, and this is
Project.
for a Digi. I don't
Oh,
think I
yeah,
got one for Danny. But yeah, there's also Exceptional Minds, which is really good.
right.
And those are the guys that also do hold on. They do the internships for Disney, Warner Brothers, and pretty much
Mhm.
a lot of the Nickelodeon, the big studios that are like out in the Burbank area. I think Cartoon Network is still, but I think they closed it. They had to tore it down
Yeah.
recently. But
Or
I think it's absorbed with Warner Brothers. I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of many opportunities out
resources,
there when
a lot of
they
resources.
start. Yeah, and not just for LA, but New York, all
Hold on
over
one
the
second.
world. And
I'm
yeah.
on a podcast for me. It's okay. Love you. My daughter's
I
knocking on
guess
my.
special guest, but yeah, I think we're almost done anyway. So yeah, there's so much out there that you can do, and with the right people on your side, and most importantly, it really comes down to you. Like, are you willing to go further? Are you willing to just keep on
Keep it
pushing
on.
forward even when life just gets you down? Like, as we've kind of seen in the last few weeks, like I know everything seems really bleak and dark and uncertain, but with the amount of people that are just lending a hand and, like I said, just not allowing the darkness to completely consume and overwhelm them, anything is possible. It can happen. And especially when we're under a new leadership or dictatorship, we're not going to back down. We're just going to keep on fighting on no matter what
Right.
happens. And I
Right.
think
That's
that's
really
something that is just inspiring me about everybody from this month, because I know I can talk about like, man, everybody is just kind of really mean, like, but with this month, like, with everybody just kind of coming together and just working together to just not let hate triumph over love, you just have no idea how just the smallest the gestures like that can really mean to so many people, to
there's
even
really
myself, even
that's
when
so
I need
true.
to pick me up, you know?
Well, it's
You
like
just never know.
I sent out to all my students, and Spectrum Lab sent out a big notice, like, here's where you can go. Because all my kids were calling me, going, Macaulay, where can I go? I want to go help. I want to be of service. I don't want to just sit here.
Exactly.
And so we got them this whole list of resources. And I'm like, you guys, the
Yeah.
YMCA, right by where we record, at Fever Recording by Universal Studios, I said, they are taking donations and volunteers. So my daughter and I went shopping and we got baby bottles and we got Mickey pacifiers and mini pacifiers and all these things for babies and for animals. And we dropped it off and we hung out at the Y for a little bit but just it was funny because I was at Target getting all this stuff and I looked at other baskets and I'm like, I don't think people are buying 10 pacifiers for their baby. But everybody that I saw in line almost was out there trying to get stuff to donate. And it just made you feel really good about mankind.
Exactly. Yeah. And I
It's oh,
guess from when you first got started in the acting business to spec labs to everything else that you're doing right now, it's like you really are contributing to really good stuff
thank
in
you.
while we're here on planet Earth, because we're only here for a limited amount of time. So might as well make the
Give an
best of what
eye.
we can do and just make it a better.
Yeah,
Just
make it anytime that you can make somebody's day, open,
exactly.
hold a door open for somebody. You never know. You just never know what kind of news
Yeah.
the person got. Oh, if you just always be, Rob and I talk about it a lot, but
Yeah.
just be filled with grace because you don't know what someone else might have just gotten word their parent is sick or their dog or they have to put their dog to sleep. You don't know what's going on in someone else's life, right? So
Exactly.
just try to always, I mean, I know it's hard to always be positive, but you do have a choice. You could say the glass is half full or half empty. I'm going to pick half full
Yeah. I think
always.
that's kind of a good way to put it. Yeah. um
Because the glass could be, I mean, they're the exact same height. So is it half empty or is it half full? I'm going to say if you go with half full, always thinking of you being half full, it's just you're going to project that positive energy. And guess who you're going to attract? Positive people. Positive people want to be around other positive people.
yeah.
So you
S-
are kind of a reflection of the people that are around you. And I have such a loving, amazing friends that have been my friends that are in the voiceover community for the last literally 40 years. And we could not see each other for a year. We go into a booth together. We're like, oh and hugging, and it's just like it's a really great bond, and
Exactly.
it's worth it. It's worth
Yeah.
every second.
Yeah. And since you mentioned social media, website, and everything, what would be the last bit of advice that you want to close out with?
I would say if this is what you want to do, if this is what you want to do, something in the arts, whether it's voiceover actor, musician, improv, whatever the thing is that you want to do, is that nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to care about it as much as you do. So be the captain of your ship. Just, drive that ship all the way across, you know, and the people that do not quit, that just keep stepping. Jorge Gutierrez said, when he would, they would cancel a series. He said, I'd go paint an El Pollo Loco with all my art, which he actually would go do. Go paint an El Pollo. He never stopped being creative. So my last words would be what you rehearse is what you will do. So rehearse getting up, putting on put getting dressed, and what am I going to do today to put a deposit in that career I say I want so badly. So just make a deposit every day, and I promise you, you will. You got to do it every day, and that's Monday through Sunday. You don't get to take the Saturday and Sunday off. Just a little deposit, little, doing something.
Amen to that. Well, I
Great.
don't think I can really close this out on a much better note. Thank you so much, Kathy. And
You're
I'm so
welcome.
glad that we finally got
I
this.
know.
Yeah,
You're a great example. You just kept pushing. So thank you.
exactly. Yeah. So check out God's Gang. I know we didn't really discuss about it very much, but you can probably find it on YouTube and
Yes, you
wherever.
can. You definitely
Yeah.
can.
And
And
episodes are out. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
yes, you are out. I start downstairs. I start as in a very warm department on the third episode. So I'm coming.
Oh, she coming. They
Yeah,
coming.
I'm coming. I'm coming. All right.
Asa
Well,
coming.
Oz,
Alrighty.
thank you for keeping at me, and I'm so glad that we finally got to do this.
Exactly. Well, as I always say on the show, stay tuned for next time. Keep on dreaming, keep on rocking out there, and I'll see you all in the next episode. This is Station Square with Robert Jackson, signing out. Bye bye.
Bye.